Let us see our next question, dear students. Information is provided about two projects, Project A and Project B. In the year 0, the amount of the investment to be made is rupees 50,000 and rupees 70,000. Cash inflow is provided for the first year and second year. Cash inflow is provided for first year to third year for Project A and for Project B respectively. It means that the Project A has a life of 2 years and Project B has a life of 3 years. Discounting rate is provided to us as 25%. You are required to answer which of the above two mutually exclusive projects will be accepted under following assumptions. If the projects are to be accepted only for once and the projects are of repetitive in nature. Second part of the question, if nothing is specifically mentioned in the question about type of the project, which assumption should be followed? End of year 1 to end of year 3, discounting factors information have been given to us. I request all of you to go through the question, please. Now friends, over here, what is the process or how we are going to calculate the answer? Let us discuss that first of all. Dear students, first of all, we'll make the calculation of the NPV for Project A and for Project B. If at all NPV is negative, then in that case, of course, there is no question of accepting that project. Let us just assume that for the time being for discussion, that both of them are having positive NPV. Now friends, we understand that if at all the projects are to be accepted only for once, in a way that say it is only a single time investment opportunity that we have, then in that case we will accept the project which is having higher positive NPV. We will accept a project which is having higher positive NPV. Whatever may be the time period over which this NPV is generated, you just have to select a project which has higher positive NPV. That is the way we are required to do selection of the project. That's it. You don't have to see that say what is the time period over which this NPV is generated. Why? Because the investment opportunity is not going to be recurring in nature. So we just have to make the comparison of year 0 value for decision making. Next, the question says that say if at all the projects are of repetitive in nature, then in that case we will compute the equalized annual NPV. We understand that say if at all the projects are of repetitive in nature, then in that case once the project is completed after 2 years, it will be again accepted for next 2 years, again accepted for next 2 years and so on. So in that case, the amount of the NPV and the time period over which this NPV is generated, both of them are relevant. So we'll make the computation of the equalized annual NPV and so the option which is having higher equalized annual NPV will be selected. This is the way we are required to take the decision. Please write on heading selection of mutually exclusive project with unequal lives. In that, write down first point. Over here, we have to compute NPV for each of the project. full stop. If projects are to be accepted only for once, comma, project having higher positive NPV will be selected. Full stop. We do not have to take into account time period over which this NPV is generated. Full stop. We only have to compare year 0 value for decision making. Third point, if the projects are repetitive in nature, comma, amount of NPV and also time period over which this NPV is generated, comma, both of them are relevant. Full stop. So we will compute EANPV in bracket write down equalized annual NPV. For the purpose of decision making. Full stop. Please write down the formula. Equalized annual NPV is equal to NPV upon PVIFA at K cost of capital for n number of years. This is the way equalized annual NPV can be calculated. Now let us write down answer of the question. Calculation of NPV for project A. So first and second year cash inflow is 37,000. Discounting at the rate of 25%. First year factor is 64 paise. First year factor 80 paise. Second year 64 paise. So present value annuity is 1.44. Based on that, the present value is found 53,280. This is present value of the cash inflow less investment. Amount of investment is 50,000. This is the investment. And difference of both of them is NPV. That is 3280. This is the way NPV can be calculated for project A. Next, calculation of equalized annual NPV for project A. Equalized annual NPV will be found as NPV upon PVIFA at the rate of 25% for 2 years. In the year 0, NPV is 3280 divided by PVIFA 25% for 2 years, that is 0.80 plus 0.64. 3280 divided by 1.44. So the answer comes to 2277.78. This is the amount of equalized annual NPV. This is for project A. Next, calculation of NPV for project B. I am showing you a slightly different presentation. Annual cash flow into PVIFA at 25% for 3 years minus investment. Okay. So I'm writing in this way: present value of the cash inflow minus investment. That is the way I'm writing it. The annual cash inflow is 37,600. PVIFA 25% for 3 years. First year, second year, third year discounting factor 37,600 into 1.952 minus the amount of the investment is 70,000. So here 1.952 into 37,600, that comes to 73,395.20 minus 70,000. So 3395.2. This is the way the amount of the NPV can be calculated. And the next is equalized annual NPV. Friends, I have shown you slightly the different method of the presentation is because of the reason that many a times the institute suggested answers are provided in some or other way. So whenever they have been provided with slightly different method, then I have observed that the students have number of times confusion with respect to the method in which the answer is shown. That is the reasons I have shown this working to you. Equalize annual NPV is NPV upon PVIFA at the rate of 25% for 3 years. It is 3395.2 divided by PVIFA 25% for 3 years is 1.9520. That comes to 1739.34. This is the way equalized annual NPV is calculated for project B. Now, the turn comes of the decision making. Project A and project B, amount of NPV and amount of equalized annual NPV. 3395.20 and 1739.34. Over here it is 3280 2277.78. This is the way the NPV and equalized annual NPV can be compared. From NPV point of view, we can see that the project B has higher NPV. So if at all the projects are to be accepted only for once, we'll select the B project. And equalized annual NPV of A project is higher. So if at all the projects are of repetitive in nature, then in that case we should accept the A project. So we understand that company should accept project B, comma, if the projects are for one-time acceptance full stop. Company should accept project A, comma, if they are of repetitive in nature. This is the way we are required to take the decision. Now let us see the second part of the question. The question says that if nothing is specifically mentioned in the question about type of the project. So if at all there is a question in examination wherein we are having one project having life of 2 years and another having life of 3 years and they are mutually exclusive in nature. The question does not specify that whether the projects are to be accepted only for once or they are repetitive in nature. Then in that case what we should do, that is a question. The answer of this question is that you have to make an assumption with respect to the one-time acceptance or repetitive. Usually we understand that we can make assumption that the projects are of repetitive in nature and accordingly we can take the decision. Read an answer? Answer for the second part of the question. If nothing is specified, comma, we can make any assumption for acceptability of project, full stop. Preferably we should make an assumption that projects are of repetitive in nature and equalize annual NPV concept. Equalize annual NPV concept will be used. Full stop. A summary of the working friends. We understand that over here we have been provided with the information about the mutually exclusive investment proposals. Whenever we have been provided with the mutually exclusive investment proposals and the both of them are having different lives, then in that case what you can do, if at all the projects are to be accepted only for once, then the project which is having higher positive NPV will be selected, irrespective of the time period over which this NPV is generated. And if at all the projects are of repetitive in nature, then in that case we will select the project which is having the higher equalized annual NPV, because in that case not only the amount of the NPV but also the time period over which this NPV is generated, both of them are relevant. So we made calculation of NPV of A project, equalized annual NPV for project A, NPV for B project, equalized annual NPV for B project. Then based on that, we have taken the decision that which project should be accepted. If no clarification is made, then in that case we will make assumption usually the projects are of repetitive in nature, and accordingly the equalized annual NPV will be calculated.